Reporters, stay behind the line. You here to film? Step back. Don't get in the way of real soldiers. A brown-haired woman stood alone at the edge of the Navy SEAL training ground, camera bag slung over her shoulder, mocking glances, quiet laughter from the training staff. Then the SEAL commander stepped out, saw her, froze, eyes widened, and whispered, "She trained me." Complete silence. Meet Riley Vaughn, 35 years old. Lean build, brown hair pulled back tight, camera slung across her shoulder, wearing tactical shirt. She's here as an independent journalist, documenting a joint training exercise with Navy SEALs. She was brought in as a neutral observer. But nobody on the SEAL team takes her seriously. A young sailor smirks. Don't let her near the weapons. She might click the shutter instead of pulling the trigger. A grizzled sergeant chuckles. Probably thinks she's the next great war correspondent from the movies. Riley just stands there, quietly adjusting her camera settings, ignoring the comments. The training ground buzzes with activity, SEALs running drills, weapons checks, combat simulations. And there's Riley, standing on the sidelines, looking like she doesn't belong. "Ma'am, you need to stay behind that yellow line," barks a drill instructor. "This is live training, not a photo shoot." Riley nods politely. "Understood, Sergeant." But you can see it in their eyes. They're thinking, another civilian who doesn't get it, another outsider trying to capture our world through a lens. One SEAL whispers to his buddy, "Why do we even let press in here? They never understand what we actually do." His friend shrugs. "Orders from above. Just ignore her." Riley continues snapping photos, professional, patient, like she's done this 1,000 times. But to everyone watching, she's just another reporter, trying to get the perfect shot for her article. The morning sun beats down on the training facility. Dust kicks up from combat boots. The sound of barked orders echoes across the compound, and Riley Vaughn stands quietly in the background, camera ready, waiting for something nobody else sees coming. Comment CTA Act. 1. Have you ever seen someone judged just for holding a camera or not wearing a uniform? Type, "I've witnessed it." During the initial training phase, Riley stands outside the action perimeter, observing, taking photos. A cocky SEAL decides to test her. "Want to get closer shots? Come up to obstacle course number 3, if you dare." Riley just smiles. But as she walks past a training station, something happens. Her left hand, almost by instinct, lifts a training pistol. M9 model, perfect stance, eyes aligned, then sets it down, all in 0.8 seconds. A training instructor stops dead. "Wait, hold on, that position, who taught you that?" Riley just grins. Not everyone who holds a camera has never held a gun. The instructor stares. That wasn't beginner's luck. That was muscle memory, years of it. But before anyone can ask more questions, the main training exercise begins. Riley moves through the compound like she knows exactly where to be, not like a reporter stumbling around trying to get good angles, like someone who understands tactical positioning. She anticipates where the action will happen before it happens. Her camera is always ready at the right moment, the right angle, the right distance. A young SEAL notices. How does she know where to stand? Most journalists get in the way. Another observer. She's not asking stupid questions either. Usually they won't shut up. Riley captures everything. The intensity, the precision, the brotherhood. But she does it without interfering, without disrupting the flow. During a water survival drill, one SEAL struggles with his breathing technique. Riley watches, and you can see her mouth moving slightly, like she's counting something. A training sergeant approaches her. "You know something about breath control?" Riley pauses her camera work. 7 seconds in. Hold for 3, 7 seconds out. Works under pressure. The sergeant's eyebrows raise. That's advanced technique. Where did you learn that?" Riley shrugs. "You pick things up." But the sergeant doesn't let it go. He's seen thousands of civilians come through these training observations. None of them knew specialized breathing techniques. During weapons cleaning, Riley glances at a disassembled rifle. and her eyes track the components in a very specific order, like she's mentally checking each part. A weapons specialist notices. "You familiar with that system?" Riley keeps photographing. "I've seen a few. Most people can't even tell what they're looking at when it's broken down like that." Riley doesn't respond, just keeps working. But now, several SEALs are watching her more carefully. There's something different about this reporter, something that doesn't add up. The way she moves, the way she positions herself, the way she understands things she shouldn't understand. And then, the moment that changes everything. Comment CTA Act 2. Have you ever seen one small action make an entire team question who someone really is? Type, "I remember that moment." The SEAL commander emerges from the command building, Colonel Finn Grady, tall, imposing former elite marksman, a legend among special forces. He stops when he sees Riley. "Is that Vaughn?" His voice carries across the training ground. SEALs turn to look. Grady walks directly toward Riley. His entire demeanor changes, from commander to something almost like respect. "Ma'am, this woman, she trained me, back in Echo Red, 2008. The entire team goes silent. Grady turns to his men. "She taught me how to hold my breath for 7 seconds under pressure. She was the first person to teach me how to read wind direction with your eyes, not instruments." The cocky SEAL from earlier, his mouth drops open. The grizzled sergeant suddenly stands straighter. Riley had been a tactical trainer for special forces units, an elite instructor who worked with the most classified programs. After a vascular injury during a training accident, she transitioned to theoretical instruction. Because her career change wasn't widely publicized, almost nobody in the younger units knew her name. Grady continues. Echo Red program, Advanced Combat Psychology. She designed half the mental preparation protocols we still use today. A young SEAL stammers, the breathing technique, the positioning awareness, that was all. All from her, Grady nods. She trained 3 generations of special forces before most of you even enlisted. Riley remains quiet, still holding her camera, still professional. But now, everything looks different. The way she moved through the compound, she wasn't guessing where to position herself. She designed those training grounds. The way she knew the equipment, she helped develop the training programs. The way she understood the tactics, she created them. A training sergeant approaches Riley. "Ma'am, we're sorry. We didn't know." Riley raises her hand gently. "You weren't supposed to know. That's not why I'm here." Grady explains to his team, after her injury, she could have stayed in administrative roles. Instead, she chose to step back, let others lead what she built. One SEAL asks, "Why journalism? Why the camera?" Riley finally speaks, "Because now I get to document what I used to create. I get to watch my training through your actions." The entire atmosphere shifts. These aren't just SEALs looking at a reporter anymore. They're looking at someone who shaped their entire approach to combat, someone who influenced every technique they use, every mental preparation they rely on, every breath control method that keeps them alive. Grady adds, "She never wanted recognition, never wanted her name on the programs. She said the work should speak for itself." Riley adjusts her camera strap. Good training doesn't need a signature. It just needs to work. The young SEAL who mocked her earlier approaches slowly. "Ma'am, I'm sorry about what I said." Riley smiles. "You were protecting your team from what you thought was an outsider. That's exactly what you should do. I taught you that." Even her response is still teaching them something. Comment CTA Act 3. If you've ever mistaken someone for just a reporter, then realize they trained your entire team right. I know I was wrong. Riley doesn't say anything more after her identity is revealed. She continues holding her camera, quietly taking photos. A young trainee approaches. "Do you miss it? Not being an instructor anymore?" Riley smiles. "I never stopped being an instructor. I just teach differently now, through moments people don't realize they're learning from, like right now." She takes one final photo, then turns to leave in the soft afternoon light at the base. But Before she goes, she pauses near the young SEAL who challenged her earlier. That breathing technique I mentioned? Practice it every day, not just in training. When you're nervous, when you're angry, when you're scared, it'll save your life someday. He nods seriously. Yes, ma'am. Riley walks toward the exit. But now, everyone watches her differently. Not as an outsider with a camera, but as someone who shaped everything they know about survival. Grady calls out, "Vaughn!" She turns back. "Thank you for everything you built, for everything you taught us, for letting us carry it forward." Riley nods once, simple, dignified. Then she's gone. The SEALs stand in the training ground, looking at the obstacles, the equipment, the entire facility, with new eyes. Everything around them influenced by someone they almost dismissed as just another reporter. Someone who chose to step back so others could step forward. Someone who chose to document rather than dominate. Someone who chose to capture the moment rather than claim the credit. The afternoon sun sets over the base. Training continues. Orders are barked. Drills are executed. But now everyone knows that sometimes the most important person in the room is the one you barely notice. Comment CTA Act 4. Type, "I will live kindly." If you believe that the person behind the camera might have once shaped the entire team in front of it. Some people choose to stand behind the camera, not because they're weaker, but because they once stood at the front and now they choose to preserve rather than command. Someone mistaken for a reporter. Just needed one whispered phrase from a commander. "She trained me." That's enough to silence an entire base. Because some people don't need to be photographed. They're the ones who taught others how to survive long enough to be photographed. The greatest teachers often become invisible, not because they failed, but because they succeeded so completely that their students carry their lessons forward without needing their names attached. Riley Vaughn chose the camera because she had already shaped the warriors. And sometimes, the most powerful position is the one nobody sees coming. Final CTA. Share this if you've ever underestimated someone, then discovered they shaped everything you thought you knew.